Hello, welcome to Secure Talk, your trusted source of information on the latest threats, trends, tools, and technology related to cybersecurity and compliance. Join our hosts as they discuss a wide range of topics and speak with leading cybersecurity, technology, and compliance experts. Now is the time for Secure Talk.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Secure Talk. Secure Talk is brought to you by adaQuest, your cybersecurity and compliance partner. My name is Mark Schreiner, and I'll be your host for this episode of Secure Talk. Today, we're going to be talking to cloud solution architect Christophe Koehl, and Christophe's going to be talking to us about some of the amazing benefits that can be realized by implementing or deploying Windows Autopilot. So, hey, Christophe, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How about you, Mark?
Oh, pretty good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's Friday, and I'm looking forward to an action-packed weekend. We're in the middle of a move, and I've got all kinds of things that I've been working on. But today, I want to talk to you about Windows Autopilot. And you've had some very recent and very interesting experience with Autopilot, yeah?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at some specific examples of how you've deployed Autopilot. But before we get into that, maybe you can give an overview of what Autopilot is.
Yes, of course. So the main goal for Autopilot is basically to provision hardware devices in an enterprise without minimum or not at all IT involvement. So this is the main goal. So imagine that you have a device like a PC or a laptop, which goes directly to your users, fully installed, without IT being involved. This is the main idea of Autopilot.
Actually, I mean, it goes to the users, but it's not actually installed until the user turns it on, right?
Correct. That's correct. So basically, and this is where the magic works. So the device will know that it's an Autopilot device only the first time the device will be booted and will be booted by the users. So this is where the magic comes in. So technically how it works, so the device, you have to set up, so it's an Intune feature. So I forgot to mention that. So it's an Azure Intune feature. So you have to set up, Autopilot within Intune. When the user will receive the device, so it will boot up, will connect to the network or the Wi-Fi, and at this point, the device will request or will ask Autopilot Microsoft Server if it's an Autopilot device. Yes or no? If it's an Autopilot device, in this case, some specific things going to happen to this device according to what have been set up in Intune. So some specific policies will be pushed on the device, and even application will be pushed to this device automatically. And one important thing, also this device will be automatically Azure AD join or automatically Active Directory join, which is the kind of new feature. And I think we'll talk about this a little bit later.
So before we go too far down that road, let's just remind everybody of what the traditional method used by companies to issue devices is. I mean, you've got a new employee or an existing employee who needs a needed device, and one device could take 2, 3, 4 hours to prepare because you need to understand what apps they need and so on and so forth. Walk us through that process, the traditional way.
Correct. So the traditional process to provision a device to a user in a large organization, first you buy this device to an EOM, so it could be Microsoft, Dell, HP, this kind of big EOM. You usually don't buy one devices, you buy in bulk. So they come usually with not the right OS, so maybe not the latest one, and usually with lots of the end user don't like or don't want to. Of course, depending on what you have defined as procedures in your company, depending who is the targeted user, this user will probably need some specific application dedicated for his daily job. So what IT will do is basically to take this device and put basically reimage the device with what we called a golden image. So it's basically a hard drive or SSD, USB stick with a dedicated Windows 10 or a dedicated OS with all the applications already pre-installed on this image. So basically, the IT will never boot, the device will never be booted for the first time ever with what has been provided by the EOM vendors. So, and that's the issue here, because any devices provisioned this way needs to go through IT first, then be delivered to the user. So it's basically a waste of time and money, because time is money.
Absolutely. And I mean, an organization can create multiple profiles, right? I mean, you might have a sales profile, a finance profile, an executive profile, whatever. And based upon those profiles, you would have certain apps and certain privileges for that profile. And so, if you're shipping a PC out, I guess you would use Autopilot to say, oh, this device is aligned with this profile, and when the user turns it on, they have all the apps and privileges, related to that profile. Is that right?
So it's yes, almost right. So basically, all the application and the policies are controlled by Intune, right? Mm-hmm. What Autopilot will do is control UBI, so the out-of-box experience, which is the first screens you see the first time you boot the device. So Autopilot defines profiles, yes, but it's kind of limited. The options are kind of limited in this profile. It's basically you would be able to define that the user will be an administrator or a regular user. You would be able to remove or to hide specific UBI pages, like, for example, the EULA, which is the end user license agreement, or the Cortana screens, this kind of stuff. So this will be skipped. And what the user will have to do is only to connect to the Wi-Fi or the network, enter his credentials. So this was something that I forgot to mention. And that's about it. And wait for everything to be provisioned automatically. But all the policies and application, this has to be set up on the Intune side. Autopilot will control what's happening during the first boot, basically.
Gotcha.
So this is the main difference.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, it's interesting because we've been talking about new users or new employees. In my case, I recently received a new device, but I've been with adaQuest for a few years, and I was a little bit concerned about, so how is the content that I've created before and my profile, how is that going to transfer over? And it was amazing. I mean, I just I turned it on, like you said, got on the local Wi-Fi, and it was literally a 2 or 3 minute process, maybe 4 or 5 minutes maximum. But everything was there. Everything that my desktop was just what I had expected to be, and I had access to all my old data and files and everything. Just because that's all basically in the cloud, but it pulled down my specific profile. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And this is an important comment. So you were able to work like on your laptop in a matter of minutes. So in your case, I think it was 10 or 15 minutes because some application needs to be pushed.
Oh, that's right.
The device.
There was some download time for those
right.
apps, but for me to actually get in on my desktop, it was very quick. But there was something, I think it was like Teams, for example, took a little bit longer. But you're right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. For adaQuest, so we push also Office, and Office is pretty big, so Office needed to be downloaded. So this is what took a little bit more time. But basically, all the policies that we have set up at adaQuest were pushed like in a matter, really literally in a matter of minutes. Plus the plus some different specific apps. But one important comment that I have to highlight here, and that your auditors should be aware of, so you were able to work like in a matter of minutes because all your corporate data were stored in the cloud. So at adaQuest, we're using OneDrive. And OneDrive for business is important. So if you had like a data stored locally on your previous devices, that would have been harder. Some data migration should have occurred before changing your laptop or your device. So it was easy because all your data is in the cloud. So same for emails. We are using Office 365 for everything, so including Exchange, so Exchange Online. So yeah, you were able to open Outlook and send emails like in a matter of less than 10 minutes.
Oh, it was great too. And it's kind of cool when you get a new device and you're the first person to open the box and it's yours, because it's always been in the past where you get the device, you hand it over to the IT team, they get it back to you half a day later. But, they've been messing around with it and doing stuff. And, it's just kind of like, so it's not your brand new device. And I know might sound trivial, but I think there's something to that where, and there's also the benefit of, these days, a lot of people are working remotely. So how are they going to get a new device? They got to go into the company. The company's got to configure it, ship it out to them. Here it can go directly from the manufacturer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, so directly to the user.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter really where they are. They just need to have a Wi-Fi connection.
Yes, that's correct. So a little bit of setup needs to be done. You have to set up Autopilot for sure. You have to somehow tell the Autopilot that the device which will be sent to the user is an Autopilot device, right? So there's something to be done in Autopilot, but it's literally like a 2-minute thing. So this is the IT involvement part, like 2 minutes. And in some cases, actually, this task could be even done by the partner. So, for example, at adaQuest, we provide managed services based on PC provisioning, and it's not even. It's not even a task that it is done by the customer IT. We're doing this for them. So right. This 2-minute span. So basically, what happens to this device? The customer create the request. We order the device for them. The device is shipped directly to the end user, wherever he works, or it could be at home, it could be a corporate address or a private address. The user opened the box himself, and everything is provisioned automatically. So and IT doesn't see this device ever.
That is pretty darn cool. In fact, with one customer, we are in the process of completing a custom portal where their employees and agents can go and select a device, order a device, and based upon, they have multiple options to choose from, and then the device gets shipped out directly to that person.
Yes, we are in the process to automate the request process itself without IT involvement. The only thing would be like to have a manager approval, because of course we don't want or the corporation doesn't want to have any users ordering like a device. So at least the request needs to be approved first. But yeah, this tool, which is web-based, is designed to request this device to be shipped for the end users without, in this case, without any IT involvement. The only thing that IT would see is basically that a new device will appear in Intune, because at one point this device will be AD joined, and that's about it. It will be automatically managed by Intune, and if something has to be done, in this case, the end user can create a ticket to the support, but IT will never see the device before an issue occurs on this device.
So this is a huge benefit for both the end users and the IT department. I mean, everybody's getting what
Absolutely.
they want here.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about what does it take to set up Autopilot. I mean, talk a little bit about the costs and then the time involved in terms of just doing the initial setup so an organization can start using Autopilot.
So to set up Autopilot, it's a matter of days just to set up. So you first have to have some discussion with the customers to determine what kind of profile they want. This is also assuming that Intune is already in place or used. If it's not the case, so in this case, Intune has to be set up. There's another options basically. Microsoft has just released in preview a hybrid mode features, which allows basically the device to be AD John, whether to be AD John, and in this case you don't need Intune. All the policy will be pushed up by the domain controller and not Intune. So in terms of workload, so assuming that all the policies are set either on AD side or Intune side, it's a matter, yes, of hours to set up Autopilot and to configure the different profiles. To add a device into the Autopilot mode, like I said, it's a matter of minutes, assuming that you have the right information. And I think I'll talk about this a little bit later. And from a license point of view, you need only the end user to be licensed to Intune. So which is, I think, $6 per user per month currently. And that's it.
And that Intune can be used in a much broader context as well.
Of course.
So
yes.
And maybe you could just give a quick, for people who don't understand or aren't familiar with Intune, maybe you can just give a very quick overview of what Intune is and how it can be used.
Intune is an MDM tool, which is a mobile device management tool, which allows IT basically to control and to monitor all the corporate devices. So it's
not just corporate, right?
Not just corporate, yeah. It can also manage personal devices. If you install, if a end user install Outlook mobile on his personal phone to access corporate data, Intune will be also able to see that, and some policy could be applied in order to control and monitor what happens on this device. So, for example, focusing just on a mobile policy, you can enforce the fact that the device could be protected by a PIN or a biometric, a protection, so that nobody else that the end user could access the corporate data. This is one example. But Intune is a very powerful, MDM tool, which allows like lots of different things. So you would spend more time to set up Intune than Autopilot itself. But if it's already done, basically it's not a super extra push to set up Autopilot. This is what I mean.
Right, because if you've got Intune, it's already set up, you're already paying for it. Autopilot's going to take, like you said, a matter of hours, maybe 1 or 2 days maximum. And it's not going to cost you anything. But once you have it set up, 2 minutes to provision a PC or a device. So, which actually brings up the question, what type of devices can it be used on and operating systems?
So it can be deployed only on Windows 10 devices. So Autopilot won't work with the Mac, won't work with Linux devices. So only Windows 10 based devices. And the requirement right now is the version 1809, which is the version from last September, so September 2018. So this is the requirement from hardware, not the hardware, but software point of view. Okay. From a hardware point of view, Microsoft is working with lots of, with the major EOM provider, Dell, HP, Microsoft, of course, because they provide also hardware right now with the new Surface, but with the major ones. So they have They have partnership with the major EOM for their device to be easily enrolled into Autopilot. And one thing I want to mention is that this partnership works also with a CSP. If, for example, a customer is using a CSP like Cinex or Ingram Micro, Microsoft, those reseller have deal with Microsoft to provide the necessary information, Autopilot information.
Excellent. Secure Talk is primarily focused on security and compliance issues. How does Autopilot help? Let me back up. Intune clearly has a lot of security aspects to it. You can monitor device usage, you can do remote wipes on corporate data, et cetera, et cetera. With Autopilot, what are the security benefits?
That's a good question on this one. So I've never thought about Autopilot as a security feature, but more a convenient feature that allows to save time on IT side. Let me think for a second. So what could be the security benefit on this one?
Well, just to make something up, I could say that if your IT people are spending less time provisioning PCs or devices, that they could be focused on other activities. That's just a stab in the dark there.
This is the direct benefit, of course. Yes, that would be have more time to spend on to securing their infrastructure. For sure. This could be an indirect impact.
And Windows 10, again, this is just kind of periphery to Autopilot, but Windows 10 has a lot of security features built into it, including Windows Hello, which is all kind of part and parcel of the same package.
Yes, absolutely. So, Microsoft has spent lots of money over the past few years to harden their Windows 10 and to provide built-in security features. You mentioned Hello. There are also Windows Defender, the antivirus, the firewall, and everything works based on AI technology in the background. They receive lots of, billions, trillions of signals every day. So they have the materials to detect and to protect the software and whatever has been bought by the customer.
Actually, so why don't you take us through the process before we talk about the specific information that's needed to provision a PC, or excuse me, I keep saying PC, but I should say device, I guess. But it has, Anyway, how do you ensure that the person who opens the box is actually the intended person?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, the process to add a specific device in Autopilot, in this process, you would also assign this device to a dedicated user. So in your case, for example, I knew that the device with this serial number will be assigned to you. So the first time the device will be booted, basically, you got an adaQuest banner with your name, and the only option that was available to you was to enter your password. So assuming that you are the only one to know your password, the device can be unlocked and provisioned only by you, only by the end user. This is how it works. And this is also a cool thing from a user point of view, because the first time the PC, the device is booted, the user will get a welcome message, a personalized welcome message with his name and corporate logo and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool, which is kind of different from the regular UBI experience.
And I'm sorry I missed that because I just had somebody knock on my door. But is it password only, or was there a second factor?
So it could be both. It depends on the policy. So if you have a policy defining that if you're a non-trusted network or conditional access, specific policy, the device is not known for at this point the first time it is booted. So MFA could apply or not. So it depends on the policy which has been set up in Azure. So yes, if MFA could apply in this case.
Okay.
And hello could apply in this case if this is part of your policy. So during UB, like a PIN could be enforced. The user can be forced to set up a PIN, or could be forced to provide his fingerprint or provide his facial information. But it's all part of Intune and the policy that are specified in the corporation, in the organization.
Excellent. Hey, so you mentioned earlier that you needed certain information regarding the user in order to issue the device or ship the device. What information do you need?
So there are three methods to add a device in Autopilot. So you can do this directly in Intune from the Autopilot section. You can also do it from Microsoft Store for Business. And the last thing is you can do it from the partner center. So the partner can not enroll but can assign this device to Autopilot for the end customer. So the first two, Intune and Microsoft for Business, requires to have a specific ID. So the serial number is not enough. You have to have a complementary, what is called a hash ID, which is unique to the device. And this hash ID is provided by the reseller or directly the UM vendor. So I'd like to point out that to get this information could be tricky. And this is one of the pain points right now that I see into the process. But if you have a partner, you would not need to have this hash ID. So the partner could integrate this device into Autopilot using the Partner Center portal. And in this case, you don't need the hash ID. So this would be, in my opinion, the preferred method because you don't have to deal with this famous hash ID. So it's a 4K key, which is not provided on the box, which is only generated by Microsoft, and which is supposed to be communicated to the vendor, but sometimes it can be difficult, to gather this information depending on the reseller.
Excellent. Well, hey, Christophe, we're kind of winding things down here. Any last comments, observations regarding Windows Autopilot?
Maybe one thing. So Autopilot has two ways to function. So the regular way, which allows the device to be AAD joined, so Azure Active Directory joined. So this is the regular way, and Microsoft has added another way, which is to join the Active Directory, which is, I think, in my opinion, a way more interesting way, because it allows a customer who have already set up policies in AD and scripts and so on. It allows them to provision and to provision the device in AD, so in a hybrid mode. This is what it is called. So this is a cool feature, still in preview, but yeah, this is a really cool stuff's coming, and I think lots of customers are asking for it.
Excellent. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time, and you're getting a lot of great experience with Autopilot, and you've shared a lot of that with the audience here, and I really appreciate it, and wish you a great weekend, and we'll get you back on here sometime soon.
Yeah, I really hope so, and thanks for having me for a second time. It was really interesting to have this discussion and to share my experience on Autopilot. I think it could be a game changer for lots of things.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Christophe. Take care.
Hello, welcome to Secure Talk, your trusted source of information on the latest threats, trends, tools, and technology related to cybersecurity and compliance. Join our hosts as they discuss a wide range of topics and speak with leading cybersecurity, technology, and compliance experts. Now is the time for Secure Talk.